Welcome to Travel Pro TV with your host, Connie Wallace. Discussions and information on everything travel, local and global. Here's your host, Connie Wallace, with today's guest.
Welcome to Travel Pro TV. I'm your host, Connie Wallace, and our guest today is Chef Walter Potenza. And we are going to talk about all of your accomplishments, but especially about your culinary tours that you do.
Thank you, Connie, and a wonderful job that you're doing on this new programming.
Thank you. So tell me, or tell our viewers, how did you get started in this, and what's your background?
Well, I started about 52 years ago in a restaurant business.
You don't look old enough.
Well, I wasn't meant to be in it for a short period of time, and then eventually I decided to do it professionally. I became a master chef 3 times. So the brief of it is that I made it a culture of becoming a true chef. I go as high as I could in the culinary world, opened several restaurants. And right now we currently retired from the restaurant business, but I own 3 cooking schools. And then this particular idea of the traveling business started in 1995, doing 1 tour a year. And the idea behind kind of was to try to sell the dishes in my restaurants that I could not sell on the menu.
Were those restaurants in Providence?
Yeah, is Greenwich, Providence, and Cranston. Food that was not available in the United States at the time. And the idea came, how do I convince customers to order something from Piedmont, to order something from Sicily that they had never heard about? So it was out of a necessity, educating the public through travel, so that they will come back, they will probably be more inclined to order this food. That's all. That's how it really got started. I didn't know it was going to become this.
So how long have you been doing these culinary tours?
Well, 95, and then from 2018, we went from once a year to about 4 a year, 4 or 5.
And so you still do 4 a year?
Yeah, 4 plus 1. We do 4 of our typical food and wine tours. And then we do 1 about strictly cooking in Italy, in regional Italy. And that's more of sort of a technical tour, meaning that people who travel to these particular tours have an aptitude in cooking to actually get involved in the technical aspect of cooking. And most of them are writers, whether you are a writer, podcaster, whether you want to you write for a specific magazine, you have a blog, and so those are full immersion cooking. There's much more food involved in that.
So the journalists that go on that particular trip, where are they from? Are they from all over?
Yeah, they're from across the United States. I have people that help me in 5 parts of the country, west, southwest, on the eastern Florida, and they are ambassadors. So they essentially, based on their suggestion, they're able to convince the people that they know in their own circle, to join this tour. So I made sure that I made ambassadors out of this little business that I have, so that people can help me, because alone you'll never go anywhere. And also because it's an unusual way of marketing, that's all. It's about the old-fashioned word of mouth, which you're familiar with.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah,
So I hear that you have been a chef all over the world, even in Dubai.
I've had a great career. As I said, I got started. I came to play soccer in the United States in the summer of '72, and I did a great job even on that. I was a pro soccer player, but in those days, soccer did not pay well in this country. Kitchen paid much better. I was married, young children, the usual story. And so I remained in the food business, because I enjoyed the historical and the teaching aspect of it. I have always said that technically I am as good or as bad as next chef. but I have a big advantage because I am a scholar. I mean, I constantly research food. I understand the agricultural setting. I understand territory. And nobody can cook carne without knowing history of food, territory, geography, and then your culture, our culture, or anybody's culture. So cooking is not about techniques. Cooking is about all of those subjects that fill the
historical,
technique.
really.
Exactly. And nobody can cook unless you know where food is from or connect it to the past. I don't think so anyway.
I'm curious, what are some of those foods that you cooked that people were not familiar with?
Well, some of them, I was in 1983, 84, Rhode Island did not have a cream sauce. And Rhode Island did not have a pesto sauce. Today is normality. Rhode Island did not have different cuts of veal, pork, and beef that I began to introduce to the menus, things that I had witnessed back home. And you know, you go back home to see your family, you come back with a new idea. One of your friends takes you to dine in a restaurant, you try to do that. And then, you know, just to mention some of them, I remember ossobuco, the typical beef shank, was not available. Risotto Milanese with saffron was not available, at least in Rhode Island. It was available in major cities. But because Providence was classified as the second tier of food in the United States, and has remained like that. We have a great cuisine, but has remained on the second tier.
But it really is a culinary hub, Providence.
Well, it is, but it will always remain below the typical New York, Miami.
LA.
We are on par with Atlanta, we are on par with Detroit, certainly even San Francisco, for that matter. But I don't think we have evolved as quick as I would have liked to. We kind of got comfortable. So the city became known nationally and internationally for its beauty, and I think the chefs at the time in the 90s and until the year 2000, we had some of the top chefs in the world visiting Providence. Then there was a moment of decline because we rested on our laurels, as we say.
It's
right?
always a big mistake.
And so we took for granted that the state would automatically take people in, and it hasn't been the case. But now it seems like to be. We have many, many young chefs that are highly qualified. I have just one thing that had nothing to do with the travel. I wish there was a major entity or market entity behind these chefs. They need to be known nationally and internationally, or they're going to run the risk of being, anonymous. They will be great here, but the state is only 44 miles. So.
Right. But I think that Johnson & Wales Culinary Arts has a big influence, wouldn't you say?
They did a great job at the beginning. I believe that the school right now has unfortunately faced a little decline in enrollment. Not their fault, obviously. Less of an appeal to actual cooking. People finally realize that it's a sacrificial business, that you have to give up all your holidays, the finances behind the pace are not commensurate the type of hours, And so I think that has discouraged many of the younger generation who could make that type of money just being influencers on TikTok. So anyways, but as I said, I had a great career. And as one of my daughters often addresses, she says, Daddy cooked from the Pope to Elvis and everybody in between.
You cooked for Elvis?
I did. I cooked for Elvis when I was a chef and not knowing what the guy was. So that was a story all
You
over
didn't know who Elvis was?
I did not know that. I was chef at Camille's Roman Garden on Federal Hill. And in those days, the Civic Center hosted some of the top performers in the world. And it was a Memorial weekend of 1976, I believe, or 77, because he died that August. And he came for dinner. There were 13 of them in his group, and his soup porters and a band. And I went upstairs. It was 11 o'clock at night, to me and one of the waiters, just to make to help the waiter come up with a menu for these people. They were already late. And so I saw this guy here leaning over, dead tired, and so on. And so that's how I met Elvis. And I recall exactly what he had. He was very gentle, he was very kind, and he said, what should I have? I want some light. You know, he spoke with a specific accent, some light. I said, well, we have an egg drop soup, and that's what we made. We made the stracciatella for him, the egg drop that you know about. And he had a green bean salad with red onion.
I thought he only ate peanut butter and bacon sandwiches.
I didn't even know that.
We have to take a little break right now, but we'll be right back with Chef Walter Potenza.
And now back to Travel Pro TV with your host, Connie Wallace, discussing everything travel.
Welcome back to Travel Pro TV. Our guest today is Chef Walter Potenza, and he has such fascinating stories. And we were talking about the fact that he cooked for Elvis.
I did.
And then he went on to tell me while we were on break about other experiences he had. But I really want our viewers to know about your culinary adventures and tours that you plan. I know that you have 4 a year.
Yes.
One is just for journalists, one is strictly cooking, and the other 2 are for people who want to learn about cooking, love Italy, have been to Italy before and want a different experience, have never been to Italy. So tell me about those.
I begin by saying that if you are a traveler who wants to go to see Italy, you've never been there, you want to see 4 cities and be on the bus every other day, pack and unpack, I'm the wrong guy.
That's what people do the first time all the time.
Exactly, and that's perfectly normal. Once you go to Italy, though, we bring you to live the experience of where the Italians live, how they conduct their daily life, their daily food and wine routine, how they enjoy life. We try to copy them. We try to bring our participants and become Italians for those 8 days and 7 nights. We teach them some words to converse. We protect them as far as purchasing. We always make the connection with a specific boutique or a store.
That's wonderful that you have connections there on the ground.
We'll make sure that they get treated well, that they get the proper discount if it's possible. You know, we try to give them that kind of service. In addition to that, Connie, we stress the fact that my connection through the years through a wide range of chefs and winemakers and cheese makers and olive oil growers have been instrumental in deciding how we do these tours. We take them to see and to meet the people. It's much more food and wine related, to seek for ingredients, the origin of the ingredients, where they come from, understand the production aspect. There's an aspect of wellness and nutrition in what we do. We want people to understand why Italians do not jog every day, but somehow they always
and yet they're still thin.
So it's all about food, you know that.
Right, I know.
So it's what we eat. So.
And I understand that your groups are small, which I love because it really is something that you can be hands-on and you can appreciate every detail. So how many people do you have maximum in your groups?
Group, we were like 16 to 22.
Wow, that's great. That's
a
perfect
great number.
Size.
We always stress the fact that after orientation, on day 1, the day after, you should probably remember everybody's name.
Yes.
We try to make it informal. People, when they travel together, needed to lean on each other. Some people may have difficulties in walking. The person next to them becomes the support. We don't want no detachment. For those 8 days or 7 nights, people belong with each other and understand that we are all in this together for learning, to be educated, and to really remove ourselves from the day-to-day life.
So I understand you have 4 group trips a year, and the 2 that are coming up are already sold out. 2
of them are. We have the fall one, which it's Tuscany. We do Tuscany, which we did in October 2024. Was really a great success. We stay in San Miniato, about 45 minutes west of Florence. and then we do the day-to-day excursion. A typical day is you get up, you have breakfast, and then we talk about it, and we move to another city or town, and that's how the day starts. We usually be home by 7, 8 o'clock at night, and then if it's a little bit earlier, twice during the tour, we have a cooking classes. So you have to work with me a little bit. And after that, we have Puglia in October. So those are the 2 tours that are left open
And how
right
long
now.
are the tours? How long are the trips?
8 days, 7
8
nights.
days?
Yeah, they arrived at the closest airport, usually Florence in the case of Tuscany, or Pisa. And in Puglia is usually Brindisi or Bari on the Adriatic shores. And then from then on, it's all inclusive. So whatever, everything on land in Italy, it's under the cost already. It's already included.
Everything is included.
Except, of course, the airplane fare, because that we
your
cannot
airfare
control.
you have no control over
Right.
and no
But everything else,
impact on.
and you know, you're spending money or whatever. So we also make you, you know, people who want to buy gifts and wines and so on. As I said, we guide them in how to spend the less money and get the best quality.
That's a good thing to know.
It's nice little services, but most of all is something that I do myself. I do all the pre-tours. We don't have another agency on the other side. If we do a tour for Puglia, I go 6 months before, all by myself, and I create the tour. And
And you time everything out.
I time
don't
it
you?
because I get out of my hotel where I'm going to stay or where they will stay. We check all the details, from the face cloth to the soap, you know, and all the
We
food.
talked about face cloths
That's right.
yesterday. We were both on the road show yesterday, and so we were talking about how Europeans, especially Italians, don't use face cloths, and
Right.
Americans are crazy without their face cloths,
Right.
and we bring them.
That's
We
right.
Bring,
So
so bring
I-
your face cloths with you.
So,
So if people want to go on one of your trips, how do they contact you?
so they can call, of course, 401-273-2652 or chefwalterfoodtours.com.
Chef Walter
Food Tours.
Chef Walter's
Foodtours.com. And if you use chefwalter.com, it's chefwalter.com is the only web domain in America or throughout the world with Walter in it. So you can miss it. Chefwalter.com. And then there's all the direction where to go. And we hope that people connect with us. Again, discovery and to live like the Italians live for 8 days and 7 nights, that's a pretty good and interesting thing, I think.
That sounds wonderful.
So,
Okay, well, we need to take a short break right now, but we'll be back and we'll continue talking with Chef Walter Potenza.
And now back to Travel Pro TV with your host, Connie Wallace, discussing everything travel.
Welcome back to Travel Pro TV. Our guest today is Chef Walter Potenza, and we're talking about his culinary tours. So I heard that there are some little surprises that your guests, your travelers get when they're traveling with you, some things they do during the day that they may not be expecting.
right, some of the things are not scripted, they're not actually on paper. We do them, we organize ourselves so that really a surprise along the way, whether we be based on seasonality, we be traveling next to, I don't know, to a winery. So we get off the bus, we start picking the grape, or we take somebody's figs off the tree, or we do other things
Fresh
like
figs.
yes, or having gelato somewhere unexpected, or maybe one of the things that we did in northern Italy, in Emilia-Romagna, we went to have a Parmigiano tasting, but the lady was outside their farm, you know, so on the side of the road. Things like that are unscripted, means that you as a traveler, you don't have to know those things. They're
nice surprises.
They're surprises, yeah.
Right. Well, we only have a minute or so left,
Yep.
but I know you must have a lot of memorable stories that your guests have shared with you that they experienced while traveling
I'll
with
give you one
So
that happened.
give me one.
One that happened in Sicily when we had a pasta with sardines, pine nuts, and raisin. A combination of 3 ingredients that in America, it's absolutely forbidden. Fresh sardines, pine nuts, and raisin with wild fennel, which is an Arabian recipe that hit Sicily because Sicily was under the Arab influence.
Oh.
So history plays a major role in our tours. I get up and explain the dish that you're getting, that you're going to try, and to try it. Don't be so like, oh, I don't like spinach type, you know.
So people get new experiences. They get to try things. So I'm not an anchovy person, but we were in Italy and we had anchovies that were like nothing I've ever had before. They didn't even look like the anchovies that we have here.
Wow.
They were white and they were...
They're white anchovies. Those are delicacy.
They tasted like the ocean and
Yes.
lemon.
Yes.
So
and a little drizzle of olive oil, that's all.
those are some of the surprises you get that I never knew that I would like anchovies.
Well, those are some of the things that you discover when you come on my tours. Those little things that you just mentioned are very important. Being a culinarian while you're traveling is very important.
Well, let's tell people once more how they can reach you if they would like to join your tours. I know you only have a few spots left, so they would need to hurry. So
the next two tours, one covers Tuscany at the end of September, and the next one at the beginning of October is in Puglia. You can call 401-273-2652, speak to someone at our office, or chefwaltersfoodtours.com. I'm Chef Walter. If you remember Chef Walter, it's foodtours.com, and we'll be there. We'll be answer any of your questions, any details. We'll explain them to you.
well, thank you so much for being here with us today.
I want to thank you for inviting me.
I'm Connie Wallace. This is Travel Pro TV, and thanks for joining us. Join us next week for another